Hello everyone, welcome to WJELP. I'm Jackson. Today is the 28th of April, 2025. Gonna hop right into it here as we take a look at the SPC. Already an active day with tornado threats across Texas and Oklahoma, as well as around the Minneapolis-St. Paul into a bit of Iowa, as well as western Wisconsin. So gonna go ahead and take a look at what we have here. Tornado risk, the main threat up north there, but nothing really kind of impacting our areas of the Ohio River Valley and the Tennessee River Valley. You see wind chances increase there as well as hail. Just a very good kind of system that's well underway. And we'll kind of talk about that. I think that's what the discussion at the end of this video will be. We'll kind of looking in at some of those tornadoes and possibly what we can kind of decipher from radar data. And that'll be our little learning moment later today. So, um, looking ahead to day 2, we have this enhanced risk, which now is stretching a little bit further south into Ohio, northern Texas also, but everything really within the Ohio River Valley into, I guess that's, well, where's El Paso? I guess that's out over here. San Antonio, just kind of central Texas, central western Texas, being in this slight risk. Possibilities of some thunderstorms reaching down into the Tennessee Valley. Tornado threat, not really much. It's again just kind of this run over threat from what's happening over the northern Midwest into the Great Lakes. Wind, really the major threat, as well as a good chance of hail with some larger stones down there in the southern end of this tail. So, day 3, take a gander. Really slight risk over Texas, as again, this front kind of will stall out over Kentucky, Tennessee, kind of waiting for the next push later in the week. Probabilistic, just a little bit of a severe risk here over Louisville into Cincinnati, Paducah, St. Louis. Staying mostly west of the Mississippi until you get to the Ohio River confluence there. And then looking out to a 48-day, nothing really of risk here, but it's going to be looking nice headed into the weekend, that's for sure. So, taking a look at the current radar, just looking here at windy, again, those storms well underway in Minnesota, as well as the kind of formation here over Texas. I believe a tornado watch was issued an hour ago over the Texas area. Again, looking at the Euro model here, we'll let this kind of play along here. Those storms continue throughout the night into Tuesday morning. They make their way to the Ohio River Valley kind of around lunchtime Tuesday or tomorrow before dissipating into the nighttime hours. And then we see just kind of that front stall along Kentucky as this next little low pressure system builds into Thursday. We see again some sort of organization. The Euro's not very confident. Looks like maybe some scattered storms. An organization here down in Mississippi into Alabama Thursday night, and then Friday really kind of clears out. Possibly some scattered showers into Friday, which is Oaks Day in Louisville, Kentucky. A little low pressure develops Saturday morning, and it looks like it's pushing out over the afternoon hours. So, possibly a good little first weekend of May, bringing some cooler temperatures. We see here Sunday about 1 o'clock, we see 60 in Lexington, 64 in Louisville, 68 Huntsville, 62 Columbus, 68 in Raleigh. So, a good little blast of cooler air for a few days here. Is Monday, is 60s, 70s, all sorts like that, and then Tuesday still looking dry as well. Go ahead, switch over to the GFS, see if it kind of agrees with the Euro here. So storms generating along the Missouri into Texas, pushing through into Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon is when the GFS is thinking that the storms will kind of increase in intensity over the Ohio River Valley. Again, stalling before this low pressure system develops over Oklahoma. Thursday, this is Thursday around lunchtime, kind of pushing through now as we see that trough make its way through. Friday, again, still sitting around here, so possibly some showers Friday as this real big line here as this low pressure connects all the way down into the Gulf. Honestly, almost wrapping around there, but that high pressure again coming through, pushing everything out in the early afternoon over the Ohio River Valley and the Tennessee River Valley, feeling the effects of that as well. Similar temperatures, 60s here, 66 Raleigh, 66 Huntsville into Monday next week, 70s. Just a really nice weekend after this weather pushes through. Um, we'll go ahead, look into later next week, kind of keep an eye on things. Um, looks like a low pressure system developing over here just past the Rockies. But no real movement of this high pressure, still kind of sitting around. It's pushed off into the Atlantic, but some weather or moist air getting sucked in here. Yeah, 64, 62, 75. Let's see the afternoon, 70s, so still kind of cooler, but this high pressure exists over Kansas City and really gives us some dry weather for next week as well. So that'll be nice to see after some rainy April here for the Ohio River Valley um, and a few days here in the Tennessee River Valley as well. So possibly something into next weekend as we saw that storm flare up. But again, that's 2 weeks down the line, and I don't really trust that data. So at least for the storm and the next coming hours here, I'm going to go ahead and I guess, yeah, next day or two, I'm going to switch over to College of DuPage, look at the Midwest. We've got the NAM here. We'll go ahead and kind of filter through here. So this is Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Central. We see those storms coming across, possibly a little confluence there. Maybe kind of looks like a little bit of a bow that the NAM's trying to get generating there, but storms in Cincinnati and Louisville by this is 16 Zulu, so 4 p.m. Central, so right around the rush hour times. If we go ahead, pop in here, do a little sounding. Cincinnati, when this weather pushes through, tornado risk is possible. A little bit of energy there as the red line there is to the left of this blue line. Let's see, Louisville, a tornado threat again. It wasn't really apparent, so mainly hail. Severe threat in Louisville around this time, so we'll be watching more up into the central Ohio region, I guess, for any spin ups that might occur tomorrow afternoon. Severe, so maybe a bit of an eager tornado call here for Cincinnati again. We'll pop that up. That bar, I don't really know how to read these bars. I gotta look up on what that kind of means. But tornado risk, if anything does spin up, it'll probably be weaker, but risk hail likely the issue there. Let's take a look at the HRR. Again, same time. It looks like HRR already has these storms passing through. Looks like initiation here. That's 11 Zulu or 11 Central. 16 Zulu, 11 Central, so about noon, lunchtime here. Can't take a sounding with those, but we see those storms kind of reaching there about 12 Eastern time and kind of making their way across to Ohio and being out of the state by kind of evening. Again, that's 5 o'clock lunchtime. So timing still a bit of a question mark here. what we see is this HRR continues along that front, just kind of pivots, goes positive to negative as we kind of get ready for this weather to initiate Wednesday, Thursday, and clearing out by Friday. So um, that's kind of about it. So I got a little something new here that I want to try out. First off, if you're just kind of joining in here, I made a little coverage map. This is mainly what I'm focused on when it comes to at least these videos initially. You can kind of see Cleveland, Indianapolis a bit, Louisville, Cincinnati, Columbus in the center of Ohio there. Coming down the 65 corridor, Huntsville down to Montgomery, Atlanta over to Savannah, coming up through kind of Raleigh. No, it's not marked there, but West Virginia's marked a bit. But again, that's just kind of the area of kind of general information I'm going to be looking out for with these videos. And if anyone wants to see kind of additional areas, feel free to let me know. And I can start kind of expanding the area. But for the time being, that's where we're including it to. So yeah, we'll go ahead. I'm going to switch over to something a little new here. Gonna try this WS4000 simulator to just kind of run through the local hotspots, at least for people in the Discord. Louisville, Cincinnati, Columbus, Huntsville, and Raleigh, North Carolina. So we'll just be going through kind of that weather coming up and the kind of old school weather channels type of views. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this up and running here. So take a look at Huntsville first. So current conditions, Huntsville 85. It was a warm day today. Very sunny. As we see, humidity low, dew points high, pressure's decreasing as those storms kind of push into the area. Pretty windy as well as that weather pushes in. So tonight's mostly clear, lows in the mid 60s with southeast winds around 10 miles an hour. Tuesday, mostly cloudy in the morning, then becoming partly cloudy, a slight chance of showers, slight chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon, highs in the lower 80s, rain about 20%. Tuesday night, partly cloudy in the evening, then becoming mostly cloudy, lows in the mid 60s, light and variable winds. And there's our extended forecast. Potential afternoon storms Wednesday, Thursday, scattered showers, and thunderstorms Friday as that weather pushes through. And the look for tomorrow, Huntsville storms, Nashville storms, Tupelo, Birmingham, Atlanta, Chattanooga, kind of partly cloudy to mostly cloudy. And then it loops over. So we'll go ahead. I think I might, let's see, do it on the fly. Kind of extend the conditions here. I was going to say like, your weather in 60 seconds, but need a bit more time as those location data gets a little bit busy. Go ahead, look to Cincinnati as they kind of bore the brunt of this upcoming weather tomorrow. And then we'll look at Columbus as well. So Cincinnati 80 currently, 84 in Louisville, 80s kind of all around the states. Current conditions, low dew point, pressure dropping with that weather. Feels like 81. And some winds as well ahead of this storm coming up. So tonight, mostly clear, warmer with lows in the upper 60s, south winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. And then in Tuesday, partly cloudy with slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the morning, then cloudy with showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Unseasonably warm with highs around 80. Southwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour with gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Chance of rain 80%. Tuesday night, mostly cloudy, showers and thunderstorms likely, mainly in the evening, unseasonably warm with lows. All right, fair enough. Still trying to get used to this, but Wednesday, evening storms, Thursday, thunderstorms, and then Friday, some scattered showers. Again, temperatures dropping heading into the weekend. As for the rest of the area, storms everywhere with Charleston as well. getting some later as the weather pushes through. So go ahead, open up Columbus here as they are in the path of tomorrow's weather. And then we'll follow it up with Louisville, then Raleigh. So Columbus, regional observations, 80s today, Akron 74, Pittsburgh 77, mostly cloudy currently, winds south-southwest at 13 miles an hour. Dew point's at 38. Not sure if I'd believe that dew point number, but tonight's mostly clear, warmer with lows in the lower 60s, and then winds from the south 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tuesday, partly cloudy in the morning, then cloudy with showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Unseasonably warm, more humid with highs around 80. Southwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour with gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Chance of rain 80%. Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms likely in the evening, then partly cloudy in the overnight. Lows in the lower 50s. Wednesday, scattered showers again with these storms tomorrow and Thursday, and then Friday, some evening storms as everything cools off. 68 degrees heading into Friday. And the look around the area for tomorrow, storms pretty much everywhere that we're keeping a lookout for. So go ahead, open up Louisville here. Get it done quick, 67.5 seconds. Louisville 80s all around the area, partly cloudy. Winds from the south at 13 miles an hour, gusts up to 23. Heat feels like 84, matches that. Dew points in the 50s as the pressure drops ahead of the system. Tonight's warmer, mostly clear. Lows in the upper 60s and south winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. So fairly windy overnight for all the areas in the Ohio River Valley. Partly sunny tomorrow, slight chance of showers in the morning. Thunderstorms likely in the afternoon, highs in the lower 80s. Southwest winds 10 to 15, chance of precipitation 70%. Tuesday night, showers or thunderstorms likely in the evening, then chance of thunderstorms after midnight. Lows in the lower 60s, southwest winds up to 10 miles an hour, chance of precipitation 80%. So evening storms tomorrow, thunderstorms Thursday, and cooling off Friday with some evening storms as Oaks Day arrives. Keep an eye out for Saturday. Should be looking nice. But for tomorrow, storms across the area as that system pushes through. So feel free to give me some feedback on. I might extend some of those times just as I'm explaining things, but I don't want to have it drag on and have these videos be super long. But we'll go ahead and finish things up with Raleigh. Shouldn't be seeing any weather till later in the week. 70s, 60s, 66 out there in Hatteras. But pressure dropping, winds from the south at 8 miles an hour. Dew point at 40 degrees. Again, not entirely by, although it could be. It could be a cool dew point there. Tonight's clear, lows in the lower 50s. South winds around 5 miles an hour. For Tuesday, sunny, highs in the lower 80s, southwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. And then for Sunday evening, or Sunday night, I guess I'll say mostly clear, not as cool, with lows in the lower 60s, southwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Looking at the area for tomorrow, or look for the rest of the week, evening thunderstorms, potentially some scattered showers, I guess, pop up. We'll take a look back again at windy before we go to our kind of discussion topics to make sure that this is kind of working well. But sunny, Raleigh, Wilmington, Norfolk, some storms over Johnson City as that front kind of pivots over Virginia. But go ahead, take a look back at the monitor. Pull back up windy as we kind of look at the NAM, or we can do College DuPage here. We can come back to the NAM and let's take a look. It should be fine. Let's go sector selection. Let's go Mid-Atlantic. No real storms popping up as this storm or front tilts over Kentucky and Tennessee. So maybe some scattered showers. This is Thursday, so I could see that there. The HR might be a bit more descriptive for the area. Again, winds increase. This looks like Tuesday morning, or kind of in the afternoon almost. There's really no scattered showers until some leftovers reach the area. Wednesday morning, kind of around sunrise into the early lunch hours. So I wouldn't really believe that display here from the WS 4000, but um, yeah, I think that pretty much covers the forecast we want to look at. So going to now transition into looking at RadarScope and what's going on in Minnesota as some of the tornadoes have already spun up and are really kind of kicking their way through southern Minnesota and into Wisconsin. So just popping that up real quick here. Up warnings, special weather statements here. We'll do storm tracks as well. And we'll switch over to monitor 1 here. Let's hide that. So looking here out of the radar out of KMPX or Minneapolis, as the tornado watch has been issued, really the area of greatest concern here was, I think, about here. We can pull up that display here with the categorical look. So it looks like that upper storm kind of expected to kind of run off here, but the main threat down here, the south, from Lakeville all the way down to looks at Spencer, Iowa. So even starting in Minneapolis, really. So we'll have this disappear. And I guess things to look at when looking at radar like that, having the tools available that I kind of run through while I go live on Discord is, of course, I'll have the reflectivity, and there's some kind of indications of some rotation that we'll go side by side here shortly. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the watches. We'll just look at the warnings, and we'll kind of remove the storm tracks, get rid of that clutter as well. So of course we have the red tornado warning box here, Winnebago, Mapleton into Janesville, possibly into Owatonna, going on so forth, possibly long track here. Some of the pinks that we're looking at, likely hail, as that kind of indicates a higher DBZ value down here, and the higher DBZ value just means increased reflection coming from the radar here, hitting here and coming back. So just a larger cross section reflecting back to the radar. And usually hail, if you've experienced hail before, usually, quarter inch, half inch, that's going to be larger than any raindrop that you'll see. So that's what the pink is indicating here. So good amount of hail. Again, you might see something really far away from the radar also showing hail, but it might turn to rain by the time it gets to the surface because, again, we're looking at 16,000 feet here, as this is 140 miles from the radar, as we get another tornado warning here, displaying over north of Waseca, over Janesville, headed on its way kind of here towards Red Wing, Cannon City, Faribault, maybe? We'll see. So other than the boxes kind of showing the area, we can also pop up the velocity map mode. And you'll see a lot of greens, a lot of reds here. What we're looking for is a gate. And a gate is where two of these pixels meet. And the gate that we're looking for specifically in a real telltale sign is where green meets red. So like this tornado that was just indicated, what they might be looking at here is you have this green area here and this kind of grayer area here. And so what a green means, and an easier way to think about it, is green is basically from the perspective of the radar, green is coming towards the radar. So the radar loves having people comes towards it. It's green, it's good. So it's enjoying this heading its way towards that radar. Whereas red, it doesn't want you to leave, so it's running away, and it doesn't really like that. So with green coming this way, red coming this way, that's where we get that rotation. As we see here, as this next radar frame here, we see green here, red here. So likely some rotation here um, in this tornado box. As for further away, you can look for, again, this green that scales further left for the faster going towards the radar, and to the right here is faster away. Um, so we see this blue kind of faster away, even though this is green and, or sorry, not faster away, blue really coming fast towards, even though this green is indicating it's still coming towards the radar, it's coming slower. So it might be indicating, a little bit of curling here um, at this gate, which could be the indicated tornado here. Um, it's observed, so it looks like it is on the ground. We're going to see if there's a closer radar. It doesn't really look like it. Um, so that's what we're working off of indication here. We can take a look at the spotters. I don't think I actually have it set up on my computer, but yeah, you can see a little red pip here now and the blues there. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Again, that structure kind of forming a bit better here. And if we're going to split the screen here. So I'll make the left our reflectivity as we saw before. We see all that hail throughout the storm. And the green on the right is our velocity. So essentially what we're looking for here is here's rotation. There's nothing really on the radar that kind of indicates, so we have to kind of rely on the velocity map for something to show. Now, what could end up happening is what we're looking for on the reflectivity map is like an inflow. And what we'll usually see is a bulge, um, kind of like, I think there's a musical note that kind of looks like that. Maybe it's like this. Um, but we're looking for a bit of a bulge. And so what that's kind of telling us is there is some sort of inflow possibly coming in here. And if we look over at the velocity map mode, we can see that there's this trail of red that's slowly making its way. And I think that we do have a bit of an inflow apparent on the reflectivity as it kind of joins up in here and makes its way to moving further away from the radar. So potentially our rotation down here is being fed in this little corridor. Looking down at this one, again, our rotation is kind of broadly here. Nothing really along this line indicating any sort of inflow. And we'll keep an eye for that as well to see if anything kind of develops of it. But another thing that we'll look for is there's storm relative velocity, which does a little bit of math, kind of makes those reds and greens a little bit more apparent. Move to the correlation coefficient. Now, this possibly gets noisy because the correlation coefficient essentially is informing the radar of less, I guess, uniform composition of particles that it's reflecting off of. So the higher purple, the more uniform the particles are, so like more raindrops of similar size, whereas as you get lower into these decibels, you have varying sizes of reflectivity coming back to the radar. And usually, if we usually it's almost I think it's pretty much confirmed that hail is a big cause of kind of the reflectivity or the correlation coefficient being lower. So we see hail there, we see spots of green. What you'll also see is if you have a line of hail here, is that will impact the radar's ability to see further. So we have hail here, and that's blocking or causing this kind of ray to come out behind it. So it's almost occluding this tornado a little bit and possibly the debris that it's sending up. And that's the next thing I wanted to get to is that debris, of course, is going to have different sizes as it's lofted into the air by tornadoes. And so whenever a tornado occurs, you'll see a blue dot, almost like a little bit of a circle. Again, these are pixels, so you can imagine maybe like, this circle here turns into a blue circle or something like that, indicating, a tornado's on the ground, it's lofting debris, it's causing the radar to kind of return that sort of correlation coefficient back to the radar. So, that's really the most in-depth tools, at least when it comes to tornado, hail, and kind of storm tracking when using RadarScope. One last thing I guess I can show is this hydrometeor classification. Breaks it down into essentially your major weather or major precipitation types. So you have ice crystals in pink, you have dry snow, wet snow, rain, bigger drops. Grapple is like, frozen rain or, little, like basically like pre-hail, I guess you could say. Hail and rain, as we see in the red here, large hail in dark red, giant hail in yellow, and then you kind of get some range-fold and unknown types here beyond there. So we see hail pretty prevalent here. Again, as acknowledged by the pink. This area here might be questionable because the radar beam might be getting high enough where by the time that this hail falls to the ground, it's turning to rain. This is the same with like back here. It's looking so high up into the sky. Again, this is 8,000, 9,000 feet in the air that it's saying that it's snowing along this kind of southern edge of the storm, which again likely is incorrect. It's most likely rain, but there is probably some hail kind of in this core here, down in this core here. And that's really kind of touches on everything that I use with RadarScope to kind of analyze what's going on, where things might spin up, anything in a severe weather event like this, to kind of keep aware and, inform others of what's going on and, what to expect. One last little look. It looks like we're getting a pretty good inflow now on this tornado. So again, velocity on the right, reflectivity on the left. I'm going to go ahead and say this is our inflow. And sure enough, it looks like tornado is right here, cycling pretty good like this. So tornado likely on the ground. Let's take a look at correlation coefficient. Possibly this blue here, but again, the hail might be occluding any debris ball if it is on the ground just yet. So I need to tell probably a few people that I know in Minnesota to be safe. But most people are up in Minneapolis, and it looks like the worst of them is past. So I think that pretty much wraps up this video for April 28th. Thank you again all for joining. Feel free to leave a comment on anything that you would like to see, any changes to the content. If you'd like me to split the videos of, kind of weather updates for the week or kind of what to expect for the week, as well as the make it different from the educational bits at the end. Feel free to let me know. If not, I'll keep going. And I will see you all next week. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you then. Bye.